Hey everybody, welcome to the weekend vid. There's a lot to cover, so I'll do my best here, but we just have a lot. So I'm going to give you some of my favorites, and then I'll show you the scans that you can do if you want to go and get more specific. And obviously the in-force scans will do some of the filtering for us to see what's actually starting to move come Monday. That being said, though, we always start with these indexes. So SPY, closer to a 2-2 week. And you can see a 2-2 on a Tuesday, and then 2-1-2 continuation, so they're still doing that. Going into that, still not negating the month yet, but we will see closer to a 2-2 reversal to give that weekly control to the weekly guys. If we go to Dow Jones, closer to a 3-2-2 in the industrial sector. So 3-2-2s, fun to say and fun to do, something we'll want to know about. If we go to IWM, closer to a 3-2-2, it's going to be a lot more of the regionals. And those are not quite as strong as the rest, so be aware of that. The regionals got hit pretty hard last week, which was a lot of why IWM had that big puke from our actionable shooter we put in that new monthly vid for you guys. So hopefully you made out with that. But that being said, we'll see. The month there on IWM is still very red. So if anything's going back down there, it might be that. We'll see it as we see it, right? And then Qs in the tech, closer to a 2-2 PMG and a lot of that stuff. So going into the next week, we want to go after the inside weeks, be your utilities. You got inside week, hammer on the day to trigger that with a 3-2 month up. And the inside weeks will be relatively strong as they did not take out the previous week lows while the whole market kind of cratered, right? It scared everybody. And utilities is the more defensive sector. So if people are still scared, the VIX is still kind of high, they could just continue some rotation into utilities. And that'll be things like DTE, with an inside week and a RevStrat hammer day, NEE with an inside week and a slight hammer day. And then some of our favorites, you'll have things like Duck inside week, and that's just been gunning ever since that utility long we pointed out on the 2-2 weeks that occurred way down in here. You'll have the hammer day there to cause the inside week with a nice green month. You will have SO maybe. So SO is a 2 up in red. Nice RevStrat day or hammer counter shooter day setting up there to get that trend going again. Same thing, 2-2 week in here and boom, up they go. So very nice stuff in these utilities setting up. And there's more than that. You could have PEG in there with the hammer day and the RevStrat 132, or no, the 132 day and the inside hammer week to cause full time frame continuity up. So you got some of those. You'll also be seeing some staples, 131 on the week with full time frame continuity up above last week's highs. We will be aware, though, of that daily try if it were to start coming back through and trying to counter that. You'll have things like Coca-Cola inside week there with the inside day pivot machine gun for Monday. Pepsi normally trades with that. Little weaker last week going 3, but it could turn into full time frame continuity up if it goes hammer day above 172.78 to get that going with Coke. You'll have some earnings names like Kellogg's from the Gap list. You have a momentum hammer week and a bright green RevStrat month in force, so you want to know about that. And then you also have things like MO, which I believe is like the cigarette company, maybe Philip Morris. Yep, so those two as well. So those are kind of the big staples names we normally keep an eye on. Keurig Dr. Pepper falls into that category as well as things like KHC, which is Kraft Heinz. And a lot of those are just 2 up slightly red, so they might recover next week. Just no actionable signals on the weekly charts there. If we go to the tech then, and I just want to show you the scans here. So the scans for this week are going to be weekly 2 down in green in force, ideally higher ATR, higher market cap, so you get good liquidity and big moves. We'll see as far as the inside weeks go, healthcares. And I just want to show you this here before we switch off. Just drop the ATR and we go inside week. How many do we have? 142. So these are all going to be relatively strong as they did not drop last week. And we got 71 with removing duplicates. So these are going to be 71 inside week setups to next week. If we just scroll through and look, you see a lot of utilities, If we're scrolling up here, a lot of healthcares. Go to chunk of healthcares. You can see defensive, which is the consumer staples, and then some industrials as well. So just mostly utilities, mostly healthcares, and then you throw in couple others in there, a few financial services as well. If we go to the healthcares, you'll see we have 12 inside weeks. So AbbVie, AZN, and RMD will be potentially full-time from continuity up next week, and the rest we'll have to see. You see they're all 2-1 setups. If we go to indexes and just scan inside week here, you see staples, real estates, utilities. So these are the strongest sectors, and staples has that 3-1 we already talked about. Real estates will be a 2-1. Don't personally trade that sector as much, but you've got that there. And then into the new week, we can also scan for a 2 down in green because a lot of things did that. And then a lot of things were 3 before. So we could look for 322s like this. You see, boom, 87 322s, removing duplicates, still 87. You can filter that by ATR like this. And there you go. Highest ATR name, 322s. So in the tech, Adobe, Autodesk, and then you got Amazon in the cyclicals. Can keep going down. You got Dix in the cyclicals. And IDBM we already know about. And then some in the tech, KLAC, and then ton of industrials. Power, ROK, TDG, TTT. A lot of names I don't normally trade. GNRC in the industrials want to know about. Boeing's in the industrials. So you can see it's just across the board. We're going to have a lot of potential 2-2s next week. And that's something we'll scan. We'll want to see, like, Alex, how many 2s do we got next week? And that's what I'm going to try and answer on Monday night's video. So that being said, though, my favorites in there, since tech is normally pretty volatile, we can take a look at Apple. Potential RevStrat 122, which we did not scan yet. We will. If you go to Amazon, 322, we mentioned that last week. Could become RevStrat on Monday, so be careful. Still very red on the month. And I don't want to jump around too much, but when things recover and go 2-2, we can buy the ones that are red on the month. But what we want to do is go after the ones that are about to take that month green or are already green on the month. So anything inside week, still green on the month. And then anything going 2-2 next week and green on the month will show up on the 2-2 plus full-time for continuity bull scan. So those are going to be your strongest things to go after, and that's going to be our goal, is to get into those. But if you trade something like, let's say, Microsoft, notice the month slightly red. Could that change, though? So if we go from here to here. So $14 to change that, right? So the magnitude on the week is 26, so it definitely could change that month, right? We just need to see that happen. If it doesn't, then it could still stay kind of weak, even if it triggers the week. So be aware of that, but you got PMG in there. Netflix is one I really like. You got this nice PMG setting up there to cause a 3-3 on the month, back through previous range. Go to Adobe, potential 3-2-2, and notice how that month would go green. The other thing is this is from our macro. You got the 3-2-2 hammer quarter to put back in force. So Adobe, as long as it's back and reclaiming 528.43 here, we want it all the way back up into 580 and then potentially 638 if that can get going for us. So 3-2-2 to cause that, we want to know about that for sure. You also see things like Now, which are a little stronger in there. You can see hammer quarter in force. Inside month still, so it did not take last month's lows, stronger. And then double inside week, according to this chart here. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I believe, yeah, so I believe that might not be true. You might have to double check that on Thinkorswim. Do not have it open right now. But you'll have that in there showing up on the 2 down green scan. Autodesk for a potential 3-2-2 next week, which could change that monthly continuity. Could also hammer the quarter, so we'll keep an eye on that. And then in the industrials, CAT is going to be one of those big ones. If we look at this weekly try, you can see it's pretty obvious where that's trying to go. And we had that on the turnaround Tuesday list for the 2-2 on a Tuesday to set this up for a new week. So 2-2 on that, potentially back up there, 370. So we'll keep an eye on that for sure. It's green on the quarter. The month would flip green above this stuff here, 346.89. You'll have waste management on the stronger inside week list. And then we did not pull up, let's see. Crocs there. So Crocs, green on the month, 3-2-2 for next week. And then notice how big is your weekly range. So when continuity changes, you gauge the magnitude of the try. 3-2-2 above that on Crocs, I'd want to know about that, right? And Crocs, not going to lie, pretty solid shoes. So there's a good chance that could get going again. I've seen them picking up some steam. That being said, though, that's about the gist of it. The last thing I could throw in here is like JP Morgan, which we already kind of talked about last week. But we're going to hit the scans, see what we can get next week, focus on some of those bigger ATR names, the bigger broadening formations like Crocs, like Adobe, and that's going to be about it for the weekend vid. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys bright and early Monday for those in stat trading. And if you're not, I'll see you guys if we get a Monday video out intraday or in the Monday night vid where we start counting to see how many 2s do we got next week. So adios and have a great rest of your night.